Inside this parcel are two boxes from Magtame with two USB charging and data cables. One of them is Type A to Type C and the other one is Type C to Type C. The reason I got them is apparently you cannot have enough USB Type-C cables, since we're in a yet another transition period. Even though the Type-C connector has been around for quite a while, many devices still use, for example, Lightning connector, micro USB connectors of various variations of speed, and even mini USB connectors. And even though those devices are quite old, they are still usable and they are not obsolete. We are talking about car dash cameras, we are talking about Zoom microphones, older GoPro cameras, PlayStation 3 controllers, many older photo cameras, let alone those proprietary connectors from Apple like the 30-pin one. All of those devices are still in use. Even though the recipient connector has changed quite a lot from the large one Type B to mini USB to micro USB to Type C, the computer or charge side of things have always been the original Type A plug, upgraded to have more connectors at some point, but still backwards compatible. However, now you will also have Type-C on the computer side of things and wallboard side of things. Some will have both Type A and Type-C, some devices will have Type-C only, and other devices have Type A only. And all of that is going to stay, I think, for at least a decade. And by the time all those devices will finally be obsolete and the full switch to Type-C finally occurs, most probably there will be yet another new standard and we will have to change our cables again. Anyway, back to these products. The brand name is Magtame. It's a play on words, tame your cables with magnets. And that's exactly what this product is. Usually, when someone says this is a magnetic USB cable, it most often means there is a small portion of the cable, the connector itself, that inserts permanently into the device, and the cable is attached to that connector with magnets. This is a completely different thing. The connectors are not detachable. However, underneath the outer nylon braiding, there is a flexible magnetic material similar to those magnetic stickers for your fridge. And this allows the cable to magnetically attach to itself. It neatly curls onto itself like a snake, unlike your normal USB cable, which usually becomes a tangled mess. And also this Magtame cable has a very small footprint in its curled state, so it's easy to put in your pocket or in your bag. However, you should be careful not to place this magnetic cable near your banking cards or anything else that can be damaged by magnets. For example, credit cards have that magnetic stripe which can be demagnetized in the presence of a magnet. So be careful, since the magnetic force in these cables is strong enough to hold the cable on a vertical metal surface, for example a fridge door. Anyway, this magnetic thing is the main selling point of these cables, that's why I wanted to mention it first. And now we can have a look at some marketing claims on the packaging. The first thing that strikes the eyes is these cables are designed by no other than Uncle Sam himself, whatever that is supposed to mean. On the back of a package, there is a claim that these cables can carry up to 60 watts of power. The variations of cable you can have a Type A to Lightning, that is an iPhone connector, Type A to C, Type C to Lightning, and Type C to Type C. You can also have them in 3 different colors and in 3 different lengths. The ones I have are exactly 1 meter long, which is a perfect length when using them to charge your portable devices or as a data cable with a laptop, a dock, or a display if the monitor has a USB hub. However, if you're going to use those cables with a desktop PC, which is stowed away under your desk, you may want to go for a longer version. I will suggest 2-meter one. In Magtame marketing materials for these cables, there is also a picture showing the composition of these cables, and emphasis is made on the fact that it uses high-quality copper core. which supposedly supports safe and full charging. This is true to some extent, since thicker and better quality copper will be able to carry higher current without overheating, which is a good thing. However, the quality of copper is absolutely irrelevant for signal quality in both analog, that is audio, for example your headphone cables, as well as data connections, which is say USB, HDMI or Ethernet connection. The quality of copper does not affect the speed of the connection or increase or decrease transmission errors. What it does affect is mechanical durability. The opposite of pure copper core cables are CCA cables. CCA cables are basically an aluminum core cable with copper cladding. Aluminum is much more fragile than copper and will snap much quicker if you bend it. So CCA cables are okay for stationary applications like coils inside speakers, and they are also preferable in such applications since aluminum is much lighter than copper, so your headphones will weigh less. But for something like a USB cable, which you will tangle all the time, pure copper is better from mechanical standpoint, since it can survive much more bending cycles. That's what they are probably trying to say here. As for the two cables I got here, they are both braided. However, the one with Type A to Type C plugs has a more round shape than the Type C to Type C one, with the latter being more flat. I personally prefer flat cables, so I like the Type C to Type C more than the other one. And now it's high time to perform a test. I'm interested in both the charging quality and the data transmission side of things. We will start with the charging. For the tests, I will be using this GAN charger capable of delivering up to 66 watts of power using the power delivery protocol. Even though I do have some smaller devices, for example this vaping pen and even some smartphones that will benefit from 66 watts of charging, I'm not really interested in charging that. I also do have some real man's workloads for it. For example, this drone from DJI, and also this handheld computer from ASUS. Yes, it is a Windows computer in the shape of a portable game console. And the most power-hungry device I have is a Dell business laptop which uses Type-C as charging. I tried to charge all of those devices using both of these cables, and they all seem to draw power in the range from 30 watts to 60 watts, and the cables handle it just fine. However, I'm interested in the thermals. An overheating USB connection may melt itself and also melt the recipient part, that is, the device it charges. In many cases, such damage is beyond repair. For example, Meta Quest 2 is notorious for its charging port melting, and this is also the case with Steam Deck when charged using some third-party cables. The Magtame cables also add the magnetic problem, since magnets don't really like to be overheated. Most magnets will lose their magnetic properties forever when exposed to temperatures of 100 degrees Celsius. So I took out my thermal camera and measured both connectors on both sides of both cables to see if they heat too much. However, everything is fine. The connectors don't go over 40 degrees Celsius, which is completely safe both for the devices and the user. Now let's proceed to the data transfer speed. Permanent magnets do not affect signal quality, and in fact there are plenty magnets-based cable management solutions on the market. However, the cables may belong to different USB standards, which affects the speed. Many people confuse Type-C connector with USB 3.0 speeds, which is not the case. Type-C is just a connector. It may be soldered to a USB 2.0 cable and it will work just fine. In fact, most of the USB Type-C cables that come with different devices, especially phones, are USB 2.0 cables and not USB 3.0. There is no use measuring the speed of this Type A to Type C cable, since you can clearly see that the Type A plug lacks the additional connectors that are required for USB 3.0 speeds. The additional pins are located deeper inside to the back of the connector. So this is a USB 2.0 cable capable of only 2.0 speeds. The Type-C to Type-C cable is a true superspeed cable capable of delivering the maximum speed you can have from a Type-C USB connection at the time I'm making this video. And if you use a USB 4.0 device with it, which unfortunately I don't have around, you should be able to get about 40 gigabits of speed, which is the maximum for now. So not only does it carry 60 watts of power using the power delivery protocol, it also provides the maximum superspeed connection. All in all, these are solid cables, very well made with good materials, and the magnetic circling thing is also a very cool feature if you carry it around with you, as it massively eliminates mess, stress, and frustration. So if you're in the market for USB cables, I highly recommend Magtame. I'll put a purchase link in the description and also maybe a discount code if I have one.
I am the god of YouTube. Like, subscribe, thanks, jingle bells.